How you going there, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Smashing Crossbar Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. Once again, hello to everyone in the chat. Chris, Luke, obviously so far. Facebook will get there. Ben, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Good, mate. Good. How was your week?
Week was good. I broke my virginity today and used a chainsaw for the very first time.
Oh, look at you go. Bringing out the heavy guns. I think I've seen a photo of you on the tramp. Was it the...
Jumper castle in the
backyard, mate.
For the daughter's birthday tomorrow.
Daughter's birthday tomorrow, mate. Well, you go getting out inside and adventurous. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Muchly appreciated. We are joined tonight by a ex-Newcastle Jets, Adelaide legend, we'll call it. We'll let them have their moment with this one. The whole family, obviously, the Mullen family, obviously, is pretty well known over there. So. But yeah, obviously, thank you to Daniel Mullen for giving us a little bit of his time tonight to obviously talk about his career at the Jets. Obviously, Adelaide, China, Wellington, obviously the
Western Sydney ACL,
the ACL Champions League as well. So we'll get it. We'll talk about that. Obviously, feel free to comment if you've got any questions to put to him as well. We're more than happy to do that. Before we get into it, though, special shout out to obviously our major sponsor. Gabriel Mar Optometrist. Be sure to go check those guys out at Jesmond, Lockie and his father. It's muchly appreciated for all your eye care needs, whether it be for yourself, your kids, or obviously your family members. Just keep the word out there. So thank you very much to those guys. But let's get him on anyway, mate. Let's have a quick chat. Daniel, how are you, mate?
I'm very good, thanks. Thank you for having me on.
No, muchly appreciated, mate. Thanks for giving up your Friday.
No problem at all. No worries.
I'm sure you're not doing a great deal these days, obviously with COVID in and not much to do and not much places to go, I suppose.
You'd be surprised. I'm actually I'm doing finishing off my teaching degree at the moment. So
you'll be fine,
with the school situation, there's it's almost as though COVID hasn't even happened. So probably busier than I've ever been. But it's a pleasure to be on. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Too easy, mate. What are you studying per se? Seniors, juniors?
High school PE teaching. So PE is the major and science is the minor. So it's a new transitioning into that new profession. So I've got about 6 months left of my degree. It's a 4-year degree, and I've been doing it since I finished year 12. So it's been part time for a long time, but almost there now. So can see the light at the end of the tunnel finally.
Beautiful, mate. Look at that, eh? Freaking kids and shit to deal with. And
imagine your kids coming home. I was taught by an A League player, mum and dad.
Oh, bloody
that's amazing.
That's exactly it. That's it.
Well, it's funny you say that because it's not so much me, but in the last 3 weeks at some of the schools that I've been teaching at, I've been using some of the contacts that I do know. So we've had people like Craig Goodwin come in to visit classrooms. Jordan Elsey, Marcos Flores. So some of the schools that I have been teaching at have been really fortunate to have some of these ex-professionals and current professionals come and visit them. So it's definitely it's a great. It's almost. There's a lot of similarities between football, between playing, between coaching, and then between teaching as well. So it's a great little pathway. It's a great transition, and it's something that I'm really looking forward to stepping into in the future.
Oh, absolutely. Freaking couple of good great Jets there mentioned. Craig Goodwin, Gun.
Yeah.
I like to think
Marcos
we got the best out of him before he went
well,
Adelaide. Yeah, Flores as well, and. Obviously Craig over in where is he these days?
Saudi
Arabia, I think.
Yeah. Craig's in Saudi at the moment, so he's been doing very, very well over there. He's doing so well. He's in the Socceroos frame at the moment as well, and it's not many people go over to Saudi Arabia or those Middle Eastern countries and do well and sort of succeed. But he's doing very well at his club at the moment. He's up the top in the. I think he's in the top 5 in the league at the moment for assists. So he's doing extremely, extremely well. So it's good. It's a great story. If you can ever get Craig onto your podcast, it's a brilliant story because he wasn't one of those players that sort of came from the system and everything sort of got handed to him. It was the complete opposite for him. He had to work really hard and took the hard route, went to Melbourne, sort of had to work I think it was at KFC, while he was still trying to forge a career, and just took his chance. Just a lot of hard work, and I think it's a great story, for a lot of young kids out there who, most of them only see the Cristiano Ronaldos and they think that it comes, but it takes a lot of hard work and sacrifice, and Craig's a great story for that.
Yeah, and as you say that, Josh was straight on his phone to get him.
No, bloody, I'm just trying to bring up the Facebook side of things because I can't see what the hell's going on.
I haven't brought up the Facebook
I'm sure everyone's in Facebook land going, we're here, and
that's all right. I'll bring it up on the computer.
What's happening? But no, I've actually had the luxury of meeting Craig. Obviously, when he was in Newcastle, we used to live in the same building. The Altos there at one point at Charlestown. So it was a few
beautiful
FIFA games on and so forth like that. So no,
you two and your FIFA games. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. He used to whinge like a little girl when he used to get beat.
He loves his FIFA as well.
Yeah, very competitive.
Very competitive, yeah.
Was it him that was saying that he always does Hearts career modes?
What was that?
He always does Hearts career modes?
He doesn't mind a Heart career mode, he likes, back in the day, he used to love the Heart.
Look, I know how competitive he is because I had him in 2 weeks ago with our year 7s at a school here in Adelaide, and he was tackling the year 7s and shooting from 18 yards, scoring pigeons and celebrating. So he just doesn't want to lose in anything at all, no matter who it is that he's playing against, which is a great trait to have as well.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's working for him. As you said, he's on the fringe of the Socceroo squad and everything else. So I suppose you're not going to change what you're doing if it's working. So
if it works, it works. Just go with it.
Absolutely, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll obviously start. We'll start obviously in Adelaide. Obviously, you were part of the Mullen family. Obviously your father ex Socceroo and so forth. You had your cousin Alex, and your brother as well, I believe as well. Did he get a crack at Sydney, or was that your cousin?
Yeah, they were both my cousins. So Maddie and Alex were both my cousins. Yeah, so Maddie was he was at Adelaide United before me actually. Yeah. Just as we signed with the AIS or signed our scholarship with the AIS. Yep. Maddie had a first-team contract at Adelaide United. John Cosmeta signed him. And then Alex was the one that was at Sydney FC for a year under Graham Arnold. And funnily enough, we all play together now at the same team in Adelaide at Campbelltown, in the local NPL here.
Jeez, I hate to be every other club in the bloody competition.
Oh yeah, because Fifey's in the back line as well.
Fifey's there as well.
Yeah,
he's still kicking around.
Fifey was there last year. He's now our assistant coach. But yeah, he was our captain last year, and yeah, we won the double last year. So it's been a very, very successful club over the last five years or so.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, my dad was actually coach as well for the last 7 years there. So
well, I was going to quickly touch on that. Obviously, I think I've seen Stubbins has taken over there. So he has departed. Yeah. So Stubbs. Yeah, so Stubbsy, he's been at a few different clubs here in Adelaide, and last year my dad brought Stubbsy in as the assistant coach. So we won the championship, won the Premier's Cup as well, and then after that my dad's been coaching pretty much since I think it was '97. He stepped away from playing and got into coaching, and he's for the last 3 or 4 years he's been saying, this is my last year now. I need to take a year off and go traveling. And he finally decided last year to retire from coaching, or not retire. I think maybe have a couple of years off, so he can go traveling with my mum around Europe and book the holidays and all of that. And then coronavirus hit and he's had to cancel all of it. But he's had his first year off for a while, and Stubbs just took over from him, and he's been the head coach for this season, which has only been 4 games at the moment because of the whole situation. But yeah, apparently word is that we'll be starting again in 3 weeks. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, we heard the same sort of thing here in Victoria. So 28th, I think we're underway. So weekend off the 28th. So can't wait for that.
Excuse me.
So obviously you were coached by your father as well when you were younger. What was that like? Obviously, obviously your father being an ex Socceroo, and I'm sure you would have looked up to him obviously as a kid, and I'm sure you probably had great stories. He's 300 plus game veteran for Adelaide City, and I'm sure he played with the likes of some pretty decent players. So what was your upbringing like? Obviously around the stars and some decent players.
Yeah, I remember me and my brother Michael. We were only 15 months apart.
Yeah.
I'm the older brother, but we basically had a soccer ball from as early as I can remember. There's photos of us with a soccer ball at 3 years old, and I remember watching Dad's team always. So Adelaide City. I remember trying to replicate things that were happening in games. I remember me and my brother, in the lounge room. Mum hated it because we always used to kick the balls, against the doors or against the walls or into the windows. But I still remember, probably 4 years old, replicating Robbie Zabika, who was a goalkeeper at Adelaide City, and then the striker, I can't even remember who it was, but for Melbourne Knights back in the grand finals back in the early 90s. And then we always sort of used to go to Dad's trainings, and I remember playing 2v2, me and Damien Murray against my brother and Serge Melter, another time against Alex Tobin. So from an early age, we're very fortunate to be around that and exposed to such unbelievable players, because back then it was just they still had full-time jobs, and we didn't realize just how good they were. But looking back on it, like some of the players in that Adelaide City team, I think 50% of them were Socceroos at the time, and it was such a high level, high quality. You had Zoran Matic was a coach who, by all accounts, was one of the best coaches that we've ever had in Australia. A real hard man, but and disciplined, but such a great coach. He was able to get the best out of his players. So from a young age, we were exposed to that. But my dad always said to me, if you want to make a career out of football, then I'll support you 100%, and I'll give you the advice that you need to make it. And at the same time, if you don't want to make a career out of football, then that's the same. That's no problem, and I'll give you the advice that you need to, do well in school or play cricket or whatever it is. So he never put that pressure on me to make it as a footballer. He gave me the option, but from an early age, I remember when I was 10 years old, all I wanted to be was a footballer. I remember thinking, if I can make a living out of being a footballer, then why wouldn't I want to do that as a job? So I put all my energy, all my whole interest was just, can I become a professional footballer? And when you're younger, I remember typing on the computer as a 6-year-old. The computer didn't work, but I had a keyboard, just typing in, I want to be the best football player in the world, enter. I want to be the best football player in the world, enter. So it was a dream since I was a young boy, and to actually have that, turn out to be a reality. Not the best footballer in the world, but certainly, become a professional footballer. It was, it's something that I look back on. I'm so very proud of what I've sort of accomplished. But in terms of the coaching, Dad did coach us. I think I had about 3 or 4 years where he was my coach. And to be honest, those 3 or 4 years, including last year when I was at Campbelltown, were probably the hardest years I've had as a footballer, just because he knew that I wanted to be a professional. So it was almost like there was a magnifying glass on me. And I'm sure if I asked him now, I actually have never asked him, but I'm sure if I asked him, he would have said, well, I never put that pressure on you. But just from me, I felt there was that pressure. I had to do everything perfect. I couldn't mess up a pass. I couldn't be on the losing team. I couldn't lose that 1v1. I couldn't miss that open goal. And that was put on me probably, not by him, but from me. So he gave me some great advice when I was younger, still now. I still talk to him. After every A League game, he was the first person that I'd call. After every game now, in the local NPL, he's the first person I talk to. So some great advice. But the biggest thing that I can remember is that there was no pressure from him. It was, if you want this, I'll give you advice, but that's all there is to it. So
he's not going to hound you. He'll just if you want it, he'll give it to you. If not, he'll let you be and let you do your own thing. So
exactly right.
That's absolutely great. Another thing I've really wanted to speak to you about, you and obviously a lot of current A League players now who were in the AIS system in that sort of early 2000s to late 2000s is obviously there's been so much hype and so much talk in recent months, obviously with your Vidukas and so on, obviously saying that it's the AIS is missed, the system is missed, it should be something that we sort of need back, or if we can't get it back, we need to sort of recreate something along the lines of it. I've had a few people on, obviously, who have been coached under Steve O'Connor.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't think I've ever heard one of them, nothing but praise of how good he was, obviously, in getting the quality out of young talent. What was it like, obviously, being coached by someone like Steve O'Connor?
So, Steve O'Connor, well, first of all, the AIS is the best football experience I've ever had in my life. If I didn't go to the AIS, I 100% wouldn't be a professional footballer. My coaching from a young age, apart from Dad, was very, very limited. I don't think I ever got taught anything about tactics or the specifics of football, where to take the ball, where to take your first touch, how to manipulate the ball, where should you take the ball when a defender presses you from this way, positionally, where should you be as a right back when the ball's on this side of the pitch. The AIS for me was fundamental. If I didn't have that, there's no way I would have been a professional footballer. And when they announced that the AIS closed, for me it was like, obviously I couldn't believe it, because you just look at the amount of professional footballers that it's produced in its time. It was almost like it was dumbfounding, but at the same time it goes back to, so I've got to be careful what I say here, because Steve O'Connor was obviously not part of the new football curriculum, and it's not new anymore, but Steve O'Connor was definitely one of the best coaches I've ever had. He was old school, so he used to do drills with us defenders where he used to just get the board and pretend he was a goalkeeper and just get the centre backs, and there'd be 6 centre backs standing in line, and he'd lump the ball up and he'd say, right, go header it. And that's something now that you look at defenders, we don't know how to header the ball anymore. Young Australian defenders now can't tackle or header the ball. 100%. Some of the fundamentals of defending, we've now just I think it's not that we've just forgotten about, but we place a higher priority on playing out from the back and pretty possession football, and that's all well and good, but Steve O'Connor had everything. He taught us the technical skills that were needed at the highest level. He taught us the tactical skills that were needed at the highest level, and he taught us, you've got to be a winner as well. You need to have what makes Australia great, and that was that working, honest, hard-working mentality. That if there's a ball in the middle there, and I'm 5 meters away, and you're 5 meters away, I'm not losing that ball. I don't care how. But I'm going to win that ball. And I think that's gone as well now a little bit from our game, especially with the juniors. It's all pretty and it's all, let's keep possession. But at the end of the day, what wins games is goals. Can I score more than the other team? And Steve O'Connor was just, everything that he did was brilliant. The first 3 months, I absolutely hated it. Hated the AIS, hated the coaching, hated everything. And, I still remember the first day, well, the first week, I don't know if it was the first day, but the first week we did a possession drill with Steve O'Connor. And he goes, after, it was a rubble. It was everyone just running as hard as they could, trying to impress. And all it was a 7v7, just a square. No rules, just keep possession. And afterwards, there was no balls left. So we had a whole bag of balls. All the balls are gone. And he goes, right, I want you to remember the possession drill, because in a year and a half time, we're going to look back and you watch the difference. And I remember thinking, what's he talking about? You know, I thought that was pretty good. Intensity was high. Anyway, a year and a half later, whoever started at the AIS, whoever started in possession, 7v7, so no spare man, 7v7. Yep. Whoever started, the team that started with the ball, at times, Steve would have to stop play and say, right, that's it. Now the other team gets the ball, because the other team just could not get the ball off of it.
Actually,
he taught us. He taught us it. Yeah, just, you know, where, and I know Jason Kalina would have, if you do.
Yeah.
One I used to.
It's funny you say that, mate. Is because we had Joe Wheelhouse.
Yeah.
On a couple of weeks ago, and he's told the exact same story in regards to
really.
He goes, he goes. I can remember. He claims it's the best coach he's ever had. Just in, obviously, he goes, everything he does now. Obviously, he's got his like little academy here in Newcastle and so forth, and a lot of the drills and everything he does because of what he's learned from Steve O'Connor. He said the same thing about the possession drill. He said, he goes, I can remember, you know, doing this possession drill or whatever it was, and, you know, we're all running around like headless chooks sort of thing, and, you know, not sort of knowing what we're doing and where we're going, and everyone just sort of had no idea. And then he sort of said, in a year's time or whatever, we're going to come back and we're going to do the same possession drill. And he goes, I guarantee you, you're going to be gobsmacked how much you're going to learn in 12 months' time, because you know, he's like, I can't remember what he said exactly. But it's like, you know, you may not like it. There might be days where you like might want to kill me or kill the coaching staff or just pack your shit and go. But at the end of the day, when you leave here and you sign the next chapter of your contract or wherever you go, you'll always look back and go, holy shit, you know, what a time we had. And as he said, just some of the players as well. He got the play with, I'm sure, yourself, like, obviously. I couldn't tell you who was in your. I don't know if you had Wheelhouse in your section or not, but
we had people like Luke DeVere, Matt German, Andrew Redmayne, Mark Berigidi, James Holland. You know, that sort of that was that age group that were in there.
That's the biggest thing, I think, with the AIS as well. Obviously, again, we've sort of seen those Verdukins and so forth touch on it numerous times, where I think one of the biggest problems in Australian football, and I think it's everyone we've had on sort of said the same thing in regards to there's not enough games. Yeah. There's not enough. No. You know, you pay 18 games a year for your juniors. Like, obviously, we'll say from, I don't know, 10s upwards.
Yeah.
You know, like 15 games or whatever it is. It's not enough. If you want to be a professional footballer, you need to be training or playing at all times. You know. Branko said he would make sure, you know, if in the off season, all his players had stuff that they had to do and
drills,
you know, whatever, and all this sort of stuff.
Look, when I came into the AIS, I was 17 years old. I came in, I remember, because I went on a holiday with my parents just in December, just before I came in. I was 69 kilograms. I remember weighing myself at Dreamland. And I was 69 kilograms. And I remember leaving a year and a half later, and the footballer that I was a year and a half later was chalk and cheese. So, you know, what I'd learned in terms of football was just unbelievable. But then I actually left at 83 kilograms, and I had no fat on me at all. My whole physiology had changed, because what we did is we trained almost twice a day. So most days we were twice a day. Some days, I think it was 3 times a week, we were doing gym sessions in the morning as well. So we were getting up at 6 a.m, doing a proper gym session where we had, you know, the best sports scientists. We had the best gym. We had the best recovery centers. And then we were doing a little bit of school. Then we'll go on for our morning session. Then after our morning session, which was all technical, we'll do a little bit more school. Then we'll go and do our afternoon session. Then we'll do a little bit more school. And then we'll go to bed, and we're all together. So we're always together. We're always talking football. We're thinking football. It was just a brilliant environment.
What was the competitions like? What did you guys...
The competition? So what we did is we played in the Victorian NPL. So every week, the first year I was there, we didn't have any home games. So every single week we travelled to Melbourne as a team. So we flew in the day of the game, we flew in. So 6 o'clock in the morning, we'd fly into Melbourne. would play the game and then would fly back the next day. So we'd always spend the night in Melbourne after the game.
Yeah.
But again, we'd always play local Canberra teams as well during the week. So we'd always have at least one game a week for the whole year, basically. For 12 months of the year, we'll be playing at least one game a year. The first year that we're there, everything was a learning curve. So, we're learning what Steve O'Connor was trying to, incorporate into our game. And we did well in the VPL, but we weren't unbelievable. But the second year, when everything clicked and we understood our roles and responsibilities, we played 6 months of the competition, so half of the competition. And then after that, about 80% of our team got signed off to A League clubs or overseas, and we all left. And at that point, so halfway through the year, we're about 15 points clear of second place in the Victorian NPL. And back in the day, so that time, the Victorian NPL, there were some players there that are on 2-3 grand a game. Big players, big teams. You got your South Melbournes, your Melbourne Knights, at a time when they thought they were still going to come back into the A League. And big players. I still remember there were games where possession would have been 80%, and we would have won 4-0, and it was just too easy. We just sort of, Steve O'Connor, he was just unbelievable. He got us playing this great style of football, but we still had this winning mentality. I still remember, we were 18 years old, and I still remember it was like the real Aussie mentality of you win the game, I don't mind what you do after the game. You can go out and have a few drinks if you want. Whereas now I think the younger players, it's like, no, you have to A, B, C. You're not to do this. You're not to eat that. You're not to drink this. And everything's just robotic. Whereas back then it was like, no, this is cutthroat. If you're not performing, you're not going to play. If you want to win, and you go out, you have a few drinks. Now, if you have a few drinks and now you're not going to perform the next day, you're just not going to play. So it taught us a lot about life as well. And I think it's the best thing that I've ever done was going to the AIS.
I think the biggest thing now is a lot of NPL clubs. I'm sure you can talk from an Adelaide point of view, but even in Newcastle, right? Obviously, the Jets system now, the youth system, obviously we've been put into the Sydney category, which I think okay, sweet as. But even when we were playing in the Northern New South Wales NPL, you're talking about obviously you're talking about yourself with the AIS, and I get that that's the cream of the crop Australia-wide at the time, but being 18, 19, as you said, you're playing the South Melbournes or whatever, who have got 30-year-olds and ex-international, Greeks and stuff like that. The Newcastle Jets youth development, they struggle in the local NPL. They're getting flogged every week. They're getting beat, and it just sort of makes you think. You just go, wow. These guys are the select for the region, obviously with a few interstaters or whatever, and they're getting pumped by local NPL players who work every week and work 5 days a week, come to train and whatever.
Probably slinging bricks and making walls, 3 hours before they're kicking a football.
Absolutely, and it's just amazing to think, like how much we need something like that back. Because I think, I don't know. I just think that Australian football it's gone backwards more than it's gone forward.
So do I. And look, I think that when they announced that the AIS was going to be no longer for football, obviously I was, I thought, it was ridiculous. But at the same time, there is a solution, and for me, the solution is this. So at the moment, we've got the A League clubs. Some of them have academies, some don't. I know Adelaide United have a youth team and a reserves. That's it. Now, I know when Aurelio Vidmar was the director of football at Adelaide United, he was talking to Casio, and Casio was wanting to start an academy at Adelaide United, and he had all these coaches that were ready, and he said to Vidi, look, if you want to attract the best players in the state, you need to attract the best coaches. And if you want to attract the best coaches, you need to pay them a full-time wage. And this is the problem. Now, if you have an academy and it's part-time coaches, then they're not getting the best experience, the players. At the same time, the players cannot be paying. It's if you're getting selected for an elite academy, squad, you should not be paying a cent. You should be like in Europe, like everywhere else in the world. You should not be paying anything. So, and I know it's difficult, and this is why it's not happened. But clubs need to, especially now with this new transfer system that they're talking about, bringing in domestic transfers. Clubs need to invest in their grassroots football. So let's talk about Adelaide United now, for example, because I'm here. Adelaide United need to have an under 8s and under 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, all the way up to their first team. And they need to have the best coaches in the state that are full-time.
Correct.
Now, they need to have the best resources as well. And that way it will emulate what the AIS brings. So the players are exposed to a professional environment and set up from a young age. You might get these Newcastle youth team players now, like you said, they're playing in the Northern New South Wales Premier League. They come in at 17, 16, 17. They've not been exposed to any coaching at all. I mean, maybe if they've been at a very good club with a really good coach, they might have been exposed for a little bit, but most of them haven't. So it's going to take them 2 years to adapt and to, this is in a full-time professional environment. I don't know what it's like now at Newcastle. Are the coaches full-time? Are they, do they have the best facilities? I'm not too sure what it's like there now. But if they're not exposed to that, then they're already behind the 8 ball. If they are exposed to that, it's going to take at least a year, at least 1 year. Now, the problem with the A League setup is after a year, most of the players, they're gone. They're gone. That's it. They get a year. If they haven't made it, okay, you're out. Next one's in. So this is where there needs to be a bigger emphasis on the younger players. So bringing in, 8, 9, 10-year-olds at a younger age, and then working as in a professional environment all the way up to the first team. By the time they get to the youth league, if they're exposed to that, they will be more than capable of playing, if they need to, playing in an A League, an A League game. Now, if you get that from 10 different clubs in the A League, and it's going to expand again, let's say it gets to 12, now you're all of a sudden the amount of players that are coming through the system, second division comes in, there's going to be an influx of players. Instead of having the AIS where you've only got 24 players, you're going to have maybe 300-400 players that are at the same level. And this is where I think
you've got 12 AISs.
Exactly right. Yep, exactly. But until we get this full-time sort of professional environment at the clubs, it's never going to happen. And I think Western Sydney is starting to do that. I know they don't charge fees. I know Wellington are actually quite good at that as well. And I think Brisbane also are quite good at that. But, Adelaide United, for example, a youth team in the reserves, I know I've got a year 9 boy at the moment at one of my schools. He's a great player. He's been poached now by Melbourne Victory. Melbourne Victory want to get him over in their academy because Adelaide don't have one. I think they've got about 9 Adelaide boys in Melbourne City's young academy squads. Casio just moved over to Melbourne because there's no academy in Adelaide. It's just that's where it all starts. That's where it all starts. And if we get that right, we get that right.
Going to Melbourne.
Yeah,
big derby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But you get that right, and then and then you can start to focus now on the top level, the A League. What can we do now? But definitely grassroots is first.
I think there's 2 great things where, like, we go back to Branko. The interview we done with Branko was great. It was really good insight to the way a good coach, and there's no question about it. And what anyone thinks, he's a great coach in what he does, and obviously the stats and records prove it. Obviously, not so much at an A League level, but at NPL,
definitely in his NPL
back
level.
in whatever it was, the NSL. Fantastic. But the biggest thing I got out of that was when he said, you remember Ben when he said the best coaches that we have in Australia should be coaching at the youth level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, if you've got the best coaches you can possibly get, not just in Australia, obviously around the world, whatever, and you can get them coaching at a youth level, by the time they get to the A League, you don't need the best coach per se, because the players should, by the time they get to that stage, they shouldn't need to be told somewhat what to do. It's all I mean, they've been told for 10, 15 years.
Yeah. No, I agree, 100%. And this is where it comes down to. So why wouldn't one of the best coaches coach at the junior level? Comes down to exactly right. Exactly.
And That's.
I mean, I suppose the Jets are sort of halfway there. We've got everything down
We
to, I think it's 8 or 9s in boys and girls.
We do.
But we sort of offset that with Hunter the
selected school, yeah. So we do. We have a great facility out there at Spears Point at the moment, and we do have the whole youth system where it does go down as low as roughly that. But as you said, they're not full-time coaches.
No,
they're not.
That's the only
you know
downside.
what I mean? Like it's
the foundation of going to something like that is there.
Yeah, my biggest thing is and we've heard it from a lot of people we've sort of interviewed and people I've spoken to that we're going to interview, like Joe Wheelhouse, Yolabino Haliti, Zenon Caravella, blokes like that, right? They're three prime. We'll just use those three for an example, right? They're three blokes who have all played at the A League. I know Job has definitely played at the IAS. I believe Haliti was there at some point. Yeah. I don't know about Zenon, but I would say possibly. And they've all got individual academies, right?
Yep.
Why should blokes like that, they shouldn't need an academy. The reason they've got academy, like football academies, in my opinion, is because, again, there's no AIS and full-time coaching. It is Joe Wheelhouse and Zenon Caravella and that are playing a full-time role as coaches. And what we should be doing is influence in taking these players and going, right, Newcastle Jets want you to be the under-10s coach or the 15s or whatever, and make them full-time. They've got the experience. Yeah. They've got the knowledge of the game. What better coach than people like that? And obviously, as I said, Archie Tom. The list goes on. Nearly every professional footballer's got their finger in an academy.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Marcelo Carrusca in Adelaide as well. Marcos Flores in Adelaide, they've both got theirs. And Casio had his as well. So you have three of the best coaches. Yeah. Three of some of the best foreign players that have ever played in Australia.
And that's the biggest thing,
academies, but
and they're competing. We'll use them three, obviously. They're competing in Adelaide, where they shouldn't be competing to get the best players. They should be joining as one and going, "We're going to take."
Here you go, Adelaide.
This is the academy. You know what I mean?
Exactly
Let's take the three coaches full time. And I'm sure if it did work out that way, they said they're not going to go, "Oh, my academy's better, so no, bugger that, you come to me," or they're just going to go, "Right, we'll can it all, and we'll start."
Well, to be fair, they're all working towards the same goal, and that is to get those youth players into the Adelaide United system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and the thing you'll realise about all these people is they all care about football so much. So,
correct.
Yeah. The only thing they want is for. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Yep.
It's just one of those things. Like, all these players are willing to give back. There's no way in hell they'd be setting up their own academy if they didn't believe in Australian football and what they've learnt. Because, as I said,
and the potential that's here that's not being utilised.
You look at Mark Vidukas and stuff like that. Great player. No, don't get me wrong. Don't look at me like that. But great player. But at the same time, he ran. You know what I mean? He finished his career. He could have come back. He come back for a little bit because I know his mother or father was ill. But now he's gone to Croatia. And why did he say he went to Croatia? Because he wanted to give his son the best pathway. And he felt he couldn't do that in Australia. So he took him to Croatia, and now he's, as he said in his interviews and stuff like that, every second weekend they're freaking travelling to Europe to play in tournaments and academies and trainings and, stuff like that for half the cost of what it does cost. And that's the other big thing is in Australia is you're paying so much money for nothing.
Yeah, I know. And that's a massive issue. And that's something that, this has come to light now in the recent future. And hopefully I know James Johnson personally from when he was at the PFA. I was one of the delegates at, I think I was at Adelaide at the time, but he's a great person. He's a great football mind, and I've got a lot of trust in him. I think he'll make some really, really smart decisions in the future for Australian football.
Yeah, I think everyone responds.
I think everyone's like that.
We had Carl Dodd on last week, and he was saying, he nothing but raps over him.
You can tell as well just by the way he answers questions in the interview.
That
he is for the football first and
100%.
foremost.
Yeah,
he's
and
there
it's
to
honest.
fight for
It's genuine. Yeah, it's authentic. You can tell it's authentic.
He's not going to sugarcoat it. If there's drama,
if there's an issue, he'll come out and say that there is an issue.
This is what we need to fix,
and that's what we need in that position.
Yeah, correct.
Definitely.
Gallup was a big mistake. Just for his background, he come from rugby league. That's got nothing. I'm not talking about whatever he's professional.
And the only reason he left rugby league is because he screwed rugby league.
Yeah, I know. But at the end of the day, let's see what he does. And that's the other thing we got talking about as well is obviously he doesn't need this whole, what is it, the select with your Mark Vidukas and that now that have come.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever the hell they are. He's
starting 11.
Starting 11, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm like, where were these guys 10 years ago? And no disrespect on this. These are the golden generation of football. The 2006. Don't get me wrong.
Germany World Cup. Yeah.
But they weren't here straight away when they retired. You know, Mark Viduka's only sort of come into it now, and Johnson, he doesn't need the help right now. He'll call you. I guarantee you, he'd be the bloke and be like, Viduka, I need you, or whoever, Ocon or whatever. I need some help to come in and make people believe in me or whatever. Yeah, but he doesn't need that.
The only good thing about it is that because they are such high-profile names, and some of them have crawled out of the woodwork now.
Of course,
the exposure of the issue itself has hit the heights.
Yeah, but again, this is why we're not journos and whatever, because we just go off topic. I had a list here of bloody.
We find a tangent and we run with it.
I had a list here of obviously your time, obviously your first bloody debut game against the Newcastle Jets at Adelaide, and like Western Sydney Wanderers ACL, and like
and the flurry in China and the loan back to the victory.
And one of the 9 worst misses in the A League.
Now we said we weren't going to bring that up.
I promised that wasn't getting brought up.
That's it. It's all right. We'll lock it away. Before we go into the next bit, a couple of guys in the chat have got a few questions in here. What do we got?
Who's the best goalkeeper that you've played with?
Yeah, that one will do.
Best goalkeeper I've played with is a very, very tough one because I've played with a lot of very good goalkeepers. I would have to say Eugene Glakovic. Just an amazing goalkeeper, amazing person. He was someone that, when I was a younger player, so obviously I was at Adelaide United, I was 18 when I first signed there, up until 22, so I was there for 4 years. He was the man behind the sticks, and he was just so trustworthy. You know, you just felt confident. I never felt as though, you know, if there's a cross coming in and you heard the voice, it was just safe. You know, I just felt, it just felt safe. And then also, you know, the angles. So I used to know if I defended in a certain way, if I showed the line and didn't lunge out, I knew that he would have the post covered. And, you know, it's like when you're playing as a fullback, it's your striker that can make you look really good because you put in a good ball. If they score, then you look good. If they don't score, no one remembers the fullback. And it's the same with a centre back or a fullback with your goalkeeper. If you have a good goalkeeper, you know, you can do all the right things. Fullback, show them to the line, make him shoot to the near post. If they score, you're still not looking the best. But if your goalkeeper's there to save you, you're looking like a good fullback. So for me, Eugene Glakovic, I reckon when I played with him, he probably pulled off 3 of the best saves that I've ever seen. 2 of them were in the Asian Champions League. I can't remember who. One I think was against. I'm going back now. I reckon one was against Nagoya, maybe. One was against Gamba at home. Yeah. And then there was another game against Perth Glory as well when he pulled off an unbelievable save. So I'd have to say Eugene Glakovic. The one that came in close second was Ante Kovic. And he pretty much won us the Asian Champions League in the final there. So he was amazing as well. But Eugene just pips him.
And I'll say this from experience as well. Being a fullback myself, the defender is only as good. The goalkeeper is only as good as the defence that's in front of them. It works both ways.
It's a team game. It really is a team game. You know, everyone sort of plays a part in your journey. You know, I'll speak about someone after, but I'll mention him now. But you know, Marcos Flores. He played a massive part in my journey because he was just so good at playing those through balls. And as a fullback, you know, when I was at Adelaide, overlapping, he was playing those balls in and I was just crossing to an open space and Serge Van Dijk was scoring. It made me look really good. And really all I was doing was just running and just put my foot through the ball. So, you're only as good as the people that you're playing with. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to have Van Dijk in the 18-yard box, he wasn't missing many.
That age, absolutely.
The thud... As soon as you heard the ball hit his head, that thud, because he had no hair, you knew it was good. You could tell the sweat on his head and the thud the contact was just you knew it was going in.
Sweet spot. Lockie, we'll get to yours a bit later. I did give Daniel one thing to do, and that was to come up with his best 11. Obviously, the team best players he's either played with or against from the 11, 4 subs, and obviously a coach. We'll do that probably later to the end. We will.
Yep.
We'll upset Robbie. We'll upset Robbie. The friggin' what is he?
He's the head of the Red Army.
He's one of the heads of the Red Army. What is it? The memberships.
Memberships. That's right.
Runs the memberships and so forth of the Red Army. So if there's not many members,
he's a good lad.
Yeah. Good bloke.
No worries.
Good mate of ours. But we'll upset him and quickly fly through the Adelaide. Even sitting there going, "Oh, the years! Don't! What are you rushing through it for? The goal, the memories."
Well, let me tell Robbie before we move on. Then that Adelaide was by far the best time in my career. Those years were by far the best time. The people involved was brilliant. So
you'll never let us see the end of that now.
We can leave it as that, Robbie.
Well, that's exactly it. We'll quickly run through. Obviously, you got your first major contract from Adelaide.
Yep.
What was that like? Obviously, young kid coming through, hometown.
Yep.
What was it? Roughly 2008ish. So the A League was still very new.
Yep.
What was it like? Obviously, dream come true, I'm sure.
Yeah, dream come true. Yeah. When I was at the AIS, I remember the fullbacks at the time, and I was just praying for someone to retire or something to happen where I could. Every night I used to go to bed and just pray that I could get a contract at Adelaide, and I ended up nothing sort of came. I just thought, what do I have to do? And I remember Steve O'Connor. He goes, after the first 12 months of my stint at the AIS, he goes, "Right, boys, everyone, go home. You've got 2 weeks off over Christmas, 2 weeks off, and then you're coming back. You have not had a break for 12 months. You must not train. You cannot train now over these 2 weeks. I don't care what your excuse is. You are not to train." So as soon as we left that meeting, I called Aurelio Vidman. I said, "Aurelio, look, I'm Daniel Mullen. I'm at the AIS at the moment, and I've just been told I can come train with you guys over the next 2 weeks if you have me." And he goes, "Oh," and I didn't know, because his name's obviously a little bit different, Aurelio. Yeah. I didn't know if people were saying, his name's Vidi, and I was like, "Well, do I call him Vidi or Aurelio?" So I didn't know what to call him, so I was so nervous. I was like, "Hi, over." And anyway, he said, "Yeah, mate, no problem. But just to let you know, we're training over Christmas. We're training Christmas Day. We're doing doubles Christmas Eve. We're training on New Year's Day as well. So
Beautiful.
If you're training, one day, you're training all
Training
days."
all of them.
And I said, "Perfect, no problem. I don't care." And I remember training for 2 weeks. There was one session we were playing small-sided games. I had that mentality that Steve O'Connor installed in me. Just never lose, never ever lose. And I was 1v1 with Nathan Burns, who was the star player at Adelaide at the time. Small-sided games, man marked him, and never lost one battle with him for the whole session. And after the session, Vidi came up to me and said, "Look, I want to speak to your agent after." And I said, "What's an agent?" What do you mean? He goes, "Oh, well, let me speak to your dad after." And he offered me a contract after 2 weeks of training with them when I wasn't meant to train, and that was it. That's how it started. And it was honestly it was an absolute dream come true. I was never been so happy. So it was
sitting back
brilliant.
there going, "Yeah, the hell he's got to get a contract. He's never seen him play."
That was scary. Steve O'Connor when he found out.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I had to go back to the AIS for another 6 months, and he just goes, "That was funny how that happened, isn't it?" And I was like, "Well." Yeah, he must have liked what he saw. a couple of videos.
That's brilliant.
Bloody hell. Yeah. So from 2008 to 2012, obviously, you definitely had a good run in an Adelaide shirt. Obviously, there was some ACL in there, and you played pretty well. I think there was a double. Did you score a double in Adelaide in the ACL?
Yeah.
I think that sold you to China, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Funny story that. I remember it was against Gamba Osaka in the round of 16 of the Champions League, and it's just it's just funny how things happen. We had, when I look at the team now, we had an unbelievable team. I mean, if you put that team in now, I honestly think it's one of the, not just at Adelaide United as well. Some of the teams back in the day, you look at Newcastle back in the day, look at Sydney back in the day, look at Melbourne Victory back in the day. We look now and we think, oh, the A League's progressing, but you look at some of the names of the teams. We had an unbelievable, not just starting 11, we had an unbelievable 18 players in the team. I remember we had 6 players on the bench that were all capable starters at any other team. We had like Adam Griffiths on the bench in some games, Michael Moroney on the bench, Scott Jamieson on the bench, or Cassio on the bench. It was just an unbelievable team. Robbie Cornthwaite or Ian Fife as well, on the bench.
Cornflakes.
It was just unbelievable. The team that we had, and it was just such a great time. But that game, I remember it was the round of 16. I scored 2 goals in it. And after the game, I was having an ice bath, and Zenon Caravella came up to me, and he just goes...
Literally, I was just about to ask this, because I got a mate in Adelaide, and he goes... he said to me the other day, he goes, oh, when you've got him on, he goes, asking me... I don't know how true it is, but I've heard that apparently him and Zenon Caravella and the boys were in an ice bath, and Zenon's virtually telling him, he goes, well, see ya. Like, he'll see you going to China for sure, like, sort of thing.
You got to tell me who said that, because that's exactly what happened. Zenon, I was sitting in the ice bath. Yeah. Zenon comes in, and Zenon's full of life. He's just 100 mile an hour. He's like one of those kids with too much energy. He just never stops talking. And he just comes into the showers butt naked, and he just goes, see you, mate. That's you, done. And I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, that's you. You're done. You're out of here. You're finished. And I was like, hang on. Are you saying I'm like not going to play again? He goes, no. He goes, you've just sold yourself to China or the Middle East, or you've earned millions. You're done. You're finished. And I was like, you're an idiot. Like, it's not true. Like, we've just won the game, obviously, and I might have scored a couple of goals. But he goes, no. He goes, Mulsey, trust me, you're done. You're not playing again in the A League. And obviously, I still did play in the A League. But he was right. Literally. That was our last game. Then we went on holidays, and I went to America with Mitch Nichols and Ryan McGowan. Yep. And when I came back, so we were gone for about 4 weeks. I came back, and then in the 5th week, we normally have about 6 or 7 weeks of holidays. And then in the 6th week, I was renegotiating with Adelaide United. They were going to offer me a 4-year contract. And I was, this is brilliant. Met up with the football director, Michael Petrillo, with my dad, and I was like, yeah, this is great. Yeah, I'm ready to sign it. And then that night, got a phone call from my agent from Melbourne. He said, look, China's
on the phone, lads.
Yeah. And I was like, no. He goes, yeah, China's on the phone. They want to sign you. And I said, look, I don't want to go to China at the moment. It's I want to stay at Adelaide, and I want to, develop myself here and hopefully go to Europe or something one day. And he said, okay, no problem. I'll tell him. So a week went by. A week later, he calls back and he goes, China have come back, and they've pretty much doubled what they offered. You can't turn it down. And that was it. So that was Zenon was 100% right. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Mate Gilly. He runs one of the guys who runs the Purebred Reds podcast.
Yes.
I think you might have been on there. As well a while ago.
Yeah. He's a good guy. Yeah.
So he was like, ask him about the story about that. And I'm like, all right.
100% true that. Yeah. So Adelaide, great memories, but it was just time to go. Time to because I also had a knee operation just before I was 21, and it was a freak knee injury where it was just a set piece corner. I was running to the front post, and I had to turn out and go to the back post, and I wore these really big screws in the game, and it was at high marsh, and the grass was a little bit longer. And as I turned, no one near me, my foot got stuck in the ground. And as I turned, my knee just sort of ripped, and about a 10-cent piece of cartilage ripped off of my bone in my knee. And ended up getting a huge, massive operation. That had to drill holes into my bone to promote blood to come down and scar tissue to form. And basically they said, you've got a year to play, and depends how long it, or it depends how it sort of pulls up after that year. You might be done after a year, or you might have a couple of years left, or best case scenario, you'll have an operation every 2-3 years, and you might make it to 30. So, at 21, when I had the China offer, I thought, I need to take this because I need to make it worth it financially, just in case I can't play anymore. And that was a massive factor as well in going to China.
In some of the digging I'd done, obviously, before we got you on, I believe Adelaide were offering you like a pretty decent deal to stay. Just before that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember what it was, but it was like something unheard of, like in the A League. It was like a multi-year deal, which
it was a 4-year contract. After the year that I had, so it would have taken me to 26 years old. I was 20 at the time. 21 just about to turn 21. It would have taken me to about 26. 4-year contract, and the money was awesome. Like it was really good money.
In the A League, they're few and far between nowadays.
Yeah, and I look back now, and I sort of wish I had taken it, but at the end at the same time, it's you just never know what's going to happen. I mean, I might have played another year, and the knee might have been no good, and I would have looked back and regretted the decision not to go to China. So yeah,
talk about regretting decisions from an Adelaide point of view. You're over in China, and the opportunity comes up to go to Melbourne Victory on loan.
Yep. Yeah.
From an Adelaide point of view, I'm sure that stung them a little bit. But how did that come about? Like, what got you to Melbourne? Why was it not enough game times in China? Obviously. Yeah. Yeah. What happened?
Yeah. Exactly that. So, in China, I signed a 3-year contract, and the first 6 months that I was there, I signed at the same time as a guy called Seydou Keita, who came from Barcelona, directly from Barcelona. He was on about 16 million a year.
Yep.
And US net as well, net US. And we were third bottom of the league, and we ended up finishing 4th. So we were one spot away from the Asian Champions League position. And they ended up sacking the coach after that year. And and when they brought in a new coach, the new coach was a Chinese guy, and he decided that he didn't know who I was. He said, I'd never heard of him before, so I'm not going to play him. So you can get rid of him. So this is 6 months into my 3-year contract. Played every game for the first 6 months. Did well. So my agent at the time was John Grimord from Melbourne, and he said, "Look, I've got Ange Postecoglou. There's no way you can get back to Australia now because every team has their the salary cap and they've got all their players. So it's impossible for you to get back to Australia." But he goes, "Look, it's just coincidence that Ange there's been an injury at Melbourne Victory. It's a season-long injury, and Ange wants to have you for the last it was 3 months, so the last 12 weeks of the season. What do you think?" And I've already been told about China I'm not going to play anymore. So it was a 12-week short-term deal where I was going to be working under Ange Postecoglou, Kevin Muscat, in a team that was, Mark Milligan, Marco Rojas, Archie Thompson. It was a no-brainer. I thought I have to go, and it's only 12 weeks, and then after that, I come back to China, and that's it. So I ended up saying, yeah, let's do it. Sign the contract, sign the loan deal, and China paid they paid the normal salary as well. So it was nothing. There was no sort of there was no negatives in terms of my personal situation. So I thought, let's do it. It's a perfect situation. I get to go back to Australia.
Yep.
I get to play in the A League again. I get to work under one of the best coaches in Australia. And after that, who knows what's going to happen in China? I'll go back and see what happens.
Well, it was a good idea for you to basically put yourself back in the A League shop window.
Shop window, yeah. Well, that was the initial thought. I still had 2.5 years left, but I thought if I can still come back and do well, then at least I'm still known, I guess.
Yeah.
So I did it, and I remember when I signed the contract. So I signed it electronically, and then I was in Dalian, which is my team in China.
Yep.
And when I got I got in the plane, I flew to Beijing, when I landed at Beijing, I turned my Wi-Fi on my phone. I went to get into Twitter, and my Twitter wouldn't work. It said there was too much volume on Twitter. And so I left it for a bit. An hour later, I came back, no good. Left it again. And then, about 2.5 hours later, so it was probably different time zone in Australia. Must have been 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. I went back in, and I reckon I had over 1,000 hate messages from people, all from Adelaide. Calling me everything you can imagine, Judas. And I honestly hadn't even thought about it, just because it was such a one-off sort of like scenario where it didn't even cross my mind that it was doing the wrong thing. It was just like it was an opportunity that I couldn't miss because I needed it for my career.
Absolutely.
So I ended up doing it, and it was brilliant. I loved it. It was a great 12 months. It was probably the best club that I've ever been involved in. Not the best time I've had. Adelaide United has been the best time I've had by far, but the best club, just the way that they ran things, and their support staff, their coaching staff, the players, that it was great. And
let's be honest, as a Jets fan, the fan base, you go to a Melbourne Victory game, like, fuck, the fans are just mental. Like, you know what I mean?
The kid that was giving us the finger for dropping his chips. When we went.
The first game that I played was against Western Sydney at Amy Park. That was my first game, and it was sold out. So 30,000 people, and it was when the RBB were like, they were crazy. They travelled down. So I cramped up in the 70th minute. I had to come off.
Bagging you.
Exactly. So no, it was a brilliant experience. Anyway, when that Chinese coach at Dalian, he ended up getting a sack about 5 weeks into the season, and then the general manager took over, who was the one that signed me, and they were really struggling at the time. And his excuse in the media every week was, I don't have my Australian import playing with me. So he made sure as soon as I finished at Victory that I came back to China. And I would have loved to have stayed in Australia, but I had to go back to China. And again, we did really well that year. So we came from second bottom. We ended up finishing fourth again. So one spot away from the Champions League, and again they sacked every single coaching member, and they sacked every single foreigner after that, and that's how I ended up at Western Sydney.
Is that the king of Newcastle I see in the Facebook?
Ask him the question.
King of Newcastle.
Who scored it?
Who's this?
Who scored it?
Who scored the 2008 grand final winning goal?
Bridgie or Griffo?
2008. It was Bridgie. Yeah, it was Bridgie, 100%.
Wrong answer.
Didn't play enough games under freaking under Griffo.
Wait, 2008. 2008 wasn't Newcastle anyway, was it?
2008. Yeah. 2008. Yeah.
No, was that the Newcastle one?
Yeah. It's a running joke.
It's the running meme.
Because Bridgie obviously left, and so forth. We've virtually never let him take credit for it after that. He scored it. He scored it until he left, and then obviously he left, and now it's just a running joke between the Jets fans and everyone else. And I think we got.
Even Joel's weighed in on it.
We even got who was it? Friggin' bloody Matt Thompson. Matt Thompson confirmed. Griffo scored. Joel Griffiths in the chat. How are you, Griffo? How's things, mate? Popped in to say hello.
He always does.
Yeah, he always does. He's got a question there from one of the guys. Hi, Dan. Have you ever thought of trying England, either a lower league or championship?
Yep. I wish I did. Yeah, I've got a UK passport, and when I was
Middlesbrough.
When I was my dad was born in Middlesbrough. Yeah. When I was in my first or second year at Adelaide, I had been playing quite regularly, playing quite well. I had a few offers to go to England, and my agent at the time was against that style of football. So he said, "Nah, we want to go to Holland or Germany." And it didn't end up going, but that's definitely one regret. I wish, Lloyd Owusu as well, who I played with at Adelaide, used to tell me every week. He said, you'd be a brilliant fullback in England. You could play in the championship, or who knows where he could play. But yeah, definitely, he wanted me to go over there, and no, I never did. And it's probably the one regret that I have. My best mate Ryan McGowan, he went to Scotland when he was younger, and he had a great career over in the UK. So yeah, sort of wish I did try my luck, but at the same time, I was a professional as well at Adelaide. Whereas if I went to England, it would have been a trial, and I couldn't give that up. I couldn't give up the professional contract to risk not getting anything. Yeah.
All right, quick side question on that. What were the clubs that you were looking at, or that were looking at you? Good
question. Yeah, good question. I remember Lloyd Owusu had contacts at Reading. Reading was one of them back when they were in the championship. I think QPR was another one. And then there was... I couldn't tell you now off the top of my head. I'd have to go back into...
You know why I'm asking,
He's not going to say it.
You know why I'm asking. I wanted to know.
There's no way in hell he would have even signed for him, mate.
No way.
Actually, 2008, we might have been in the Prem still.
No, you weren't. Birmingham. Ben's a Birmingham.
I'm a Birmingham tragic, mate.
Oh, Birmingham? Nah,
yeah, man.
For them.
Dad's born and bred, mate.
Nah, Birmingham's... where are they now? What league are they?
Championship.
Yeah, so they're... Look, any team in the UK, and the amount that they... the amount of respect that they give to football over there, and the amount that they love it, I would have been happy to have played at any sort of English club.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're going to move into the... You tried. You tried.
Except for Birmingham.
Yeah, but Birmingham would have been the one he would have rejected.
You didn't say Derby either, mate, so you're done.
Hey?
You didn't say Derby either, so you're done.
We don't take Aussies on it.
The Rams.
Yeah, the Rams. Yeah, we don't take any Aussies on. Leave it to Leeds.
That's right, we'll have Stan the Man instead.
Yeah, he had Lazaridis, I suppose. Anyway, we're going to get into the Jets.
Yep.
The best time you had in the A League. Let's be honest, it wasn't Adelaide. How can you pass up the beaches? What's Lubo's line? The friggin'
vibes.
The vibes.
Yeah.
The vibes of
All
Newcastle.
the vibes.
You can't beat it.
Yeah.
So
the time that I had in Newcastle was the best. It was the best 3 years that I've probably had in my life in terms of lifestyle and just everything all round. Absolutely love the place. Place. I talked to my girlfriend now. We're planning on a trip to go back to see some of the people that still playing the team that I'm really close to.
Yeah.
Because I've got nothing but good things to say about Newcastle. The actual place is beautiful. The beaches, the lifestyle, the type of people, just an absolute awesome place.
Griff, are you still in the chat, mate? Just get that contract sorted. Just tee it up, throw it under his nose.
Get me in the academy.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. There's plenty of schools out there. I reckon you'd be able to teach that and so forth, mate. Just tee it up. Griffo, start talking.
Griffo, get on it, son.
So we'll talk, obviously.
Carl will be happy with you. You're doing scouting left, right, and centre now.
Yeah, Carl's all right. Yeah, that's it. He said, freaking, I'm gonna be the new scout. I'm just waiting for the contract to come through. So we'll talk obviously about the time at Newcastle. Obviously, it come off. Obviously, we'll say an interesting time at Western Sydney. Great, obviously with the ACL and everything else, but you signed obviously in a situation where you were originally only signed for the ACL. Because obviously there was no spots and whatever, which obviously brings to, I think it was Aiden's question where it said, when you went to the Wanderers in 14-15, is there any reason why you only played a minimal amount of games? We'll quickly obviously,
breeze through it.
Yeah, we'll really breeze through it. Virtually answer that question of why did you only play a handful of games? What was the main reason?
So like you said, I signed the first 6 months. I was only a Champions League player, and then I had a 2-year contract after that in the league. But this comes down to the coach Tony Popovich at the time. So I was playing every game in the Champions League, except for the ones that I was injured. And then I still remember having a conversation with him one day, and he said, "Look, you're doing everything right. the way that you've sort of conducted yourself and improved as a player, and losing weight and everything. It's great, it's brilliant. And then literally 7 days later, I get a call from my agent saying, Dan, you're not going to play again. Papa doesn't. He said he's not going to play you. So that was literally it. It was within 1 week of playing every single game and being completely happy there, without doing anything wrong. Something happened, and honestly, I don't know exactly what it was, but I think looking back at it, I ended up saying, well, for 6 weeks, I got told to train by myself. So, I was I'd rock up to train. There's about 5 of us would rock up, and Pop would say, right, that's it. You guys are done. Get out of the video session. You can be by yourselves for a bit. And then after the video session, we'd go and we'd do a lap around the oval. And then he'd say, that's it, you're done. Go do a gym session by yourself. So we did that for about 6 weeks. And after 6 weeks, I ended up coming to Newcastle. And the day that I signed with Newcastle is the day that Western Sydney signed their Japanese right back. Can't remember his name. But
yeah, what was his name?
Yeah, so...
Yeah,
can't remember his name, but putting two and two together, it was they had probably had an offer from he wanted to come to Western Sydney, and they had to get rid of someone that was probably on the equivalent amount of money with salary cap restrictions. And look, I've got nothing positive, nothing but positive things to say about Popper as a coach. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, but that's all. That's all I need to say about that, I guess.
The pest has arrived.
The pest has arrived. Maddie
Vandenberg has joined
us. He's always got something to say. Vandenberg, Newcastle Jets serial pest. Any questions for Mullen? Whack him in there, Vandy. So obviously we're talking about coaches. Phil Stubbins, obviously, he signed you. Obviously, wanted you, and then obviously you played under him. Unfortunately, you got the boot. You then went under Scotty Miller, which we'll touch on in a minute, and then he got the boot. And then obviously
Jonesy.
And then Jonesy came in, and then he got the boot. It's tragic. And obviously you sort of finished up around the Jonesy era before Merritt came in. So what was the team like when you first came in? Well, this is probably the best way to put it. What was the team like when you first came in to sort of when you left? Do you feel that much changed? Was it still sort of the same, camaraderie? And,
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your time.
Yeah. So when I first came to the club, when Stubbsy first signed me, we had probably 5 of the best players in the team. I think everyone would agree with that. 5 of the best players. You had Joel was one of them. You had Carney. You had Gallions. You had Billy Selesky. And what he did was he got rid of them for whatever reason. I wasn't there before that, but he got rid of those players, and he did the Popper to me. So he told them to train by themselves, and as a result, the salary cap took a massive impact. So for the next year and part of the next year after that, we really did have a couple of we had quite a few decent players, but we had a lot of players that were NPL standard and had come up to the A League, and that's no disrespect to those players or the NPL, but the other teams in the league at the time had a lot of foreign players that were utilizing the full potential of the salary cap. So we really didn't have the same quality as the other teams. We ended up, when Scotty Miller came, we ended up signing quite a few decent players, and like I said before with the AIS, things take a little bit of time, and I think there was a certain point, when we went to China in the pre-season where I felt as though things were starting to click and the team started to gel, and it was really looking promising. So that was probably about 2 years into my contract. So the first 2 years it was rebuilding, and I'd always heard of Newcastle. They always tend to shoot themselves in the foot, to take 2 steps forward and then they'll take 1 step back, and and I didn't really understand that. I thought great place, they're all football-minded people, and coming from that we'll second bottom, whatever it was, and trying to work up and develop this team. And for me, Scotty Miller was brilliant. Like I loved him, and the team loved him. So every single player in that team really, really, really loved him as a coach. And the reason was, as a football person, he was good. He wasn't the best coach I've had in terms of technical and tactical, but he was good. He was good enough. Not good enough. He was good. But his way of dealing with players and reading players emotional states and what did players need at that time, that for me was a big difference that a lot of coaches that I'd worked with before didn't have. So we all bought into this Scotty Miller sort of philosophy of the way that the club was going to be run going forward, and it was a really exciting time. And leaving China, I was the most positive I'd been at Newcastle. Then the day that we got back from China, we got the message or the phone call that he'd been sacked, and the details around that doesn't need to be said. But basically, I felt at that time, I just felt like it was an opportunity wasted, because I thought we had such a great team and we were going in the right direction. And it's just such a great place that I loved it there. It was so enjoyable, and the players were all on the same page. And when that happened, Jonesy came in, and when Jonesy came in, it was probably a bit unfair on him as well, because literally 100% of the players, every single player, you could ask all of them individually. They all love Scotty Miller, and we all sort of had the same feeling that when Jonesy came in, it wasn't fair, and he probably didn't get the respect that he deserved either. So that probably wasn't right. But then after that, Jonesy got the sack, and it was just after 3 years of being there trying to rebuild a team, I got the sense that, and wrongly so, because the year after they made the grand final, but I got the sense that it was gone in a backward direction, and that's why I chose to. I think it was about 6 weeks before the season finished. Got offered a new contract, but I chose to come back to Adelaide. Thought that I needed a new challenge, and that was probably the main reason for it. But only came in, made a few really good signings, and the team did really well that year.
Yeah, it's interesting to think, because obviously you came in and we finished last. And then obviously, so Stubbins, he finished up obviously, and then Miller came in, and we ended up finishing 8th. But you could tell just in that, as a fan, things were going in the right direction. It was starting to move.
We knew under Miller
wheels
things
were starting to turn. And again, it was no different to Merrick at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, Miller left, and then we finished 10th again.
Exactly.
It was up straight back down to the shit. So, and even as I said, same, no different to Merrick. He came in, and you could see the wheels just turning. It's like, well, here we go.
Things have changed behind the scenes that we're not seeing. The players are playing a different sort of life, and things were happening.
I suppose you'd be the best one to sort of put to it. Like, if the players aren't sold, it tells on the field. Like, if the players aren't sold by the coach's philosophy or whatever, it's gonna happen. Merrick found that out the hard way, obviously, this season when he got the flick. Things just weren't going right for him, and that was obviously a lot of problems. A lot of problems there. Obviously, simple factors like Bobby Burns not getting played,
being offered assistants and not taking them,
being offered assistant coaches and so forth, not taking them on, and all these little things where obviously he decided to do on his own, and at the end of the day, it cost him his job. But that's it. Like, as fans, obviously, when Miller left, we
were all standing there going the same thing as half the players were. Are you joking?
Yeah,
we couldn't believe it either, because over that past 12 months, we had seen that change through the team.
But the biggest thing is we had no idea, obviously, what happened in China and whatever with it. But it was just more of a, you just cut the head off the snake.
It was. We knew that there was we knew something had happened.
Yeah. And we're not going to. We're not going into it. But I'm just saying, like, it's just one of those things where okay, it's happened. Let's try and resolve the issue instead of just going, see ya. Like, you know what I mean? Surely you try and work that out. You get everyone's point of view, not just the two involved or whatever. And obviously, if you're saying that all players were somewhat in agreement, where he comes back, he's a great coach. You know what I mean? So obviously, he would have, by looks, had the backing from the coach, from the players.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, man.
It's interesting.
I remember being on the bus in China after our last game. So we played like 4 games in China, and it's pre-season, but we played 2 of the Chinese top division teams, and we beat them, and we beat 2 teams from Hong Kong as well. But it was more than that. It was just the harmony within the group. And I remember on the bus, there was one bus trip where I remember we were talking about it as a team, and we're just saying, like, we're going to win it this year. We're going to win the league. And if Griff is still listening, I'm sure he can attest to this as well, because the mood in that on that bus trip and that camp was just so high. It was so great. It was brilliant. That it was such a great feeling. And then when we got back to Australia, to Newcastle, we knew that something had happened over in China as well, but we didn't expect the result to be what it was. And when it did turn out that way, can't even remember. Did we finish last that year or whatever it was?
Yeah. So he left and you finished 8th.
I just remember the feeling, the whole way through, thinking it should have been completely different. We should have been right up the top. We had the team for it, but that was disappointing. That was really disappointing.
Yeah, 27 rounds, 8 victories, 6
draws, 13 losses. 28 for 41 against, minus 13, 30 points, which was the highest average of that time between end of 14 and when Ernie started.
Yeah, so as I said, it was definitely, in those 8 games, definitely, I remember it well, they came in early. Like, he done a really good job in the last season, obviously.
And we had that bursting run right at the end, because I think it was 3 or 4 weeks out, we were still bottom of the table.
Still bottom,
yeah. So and the thing is, like, it's got nothing to do with, like, Jonesy either, because Jonesy came in and he had a complete different way that he wanted to play. So he wanted to play, he wanted to play this risky style of football, playing out from the back and possession at all cost, and that's fine. That's good for a coach to have. But we came into this. He wanted to change the way that we were going to play. Then I think it was a week before the season was starting, or 2 weeks before the season was starting.
Yeah.
Whereas we'd been working on a system and a way of playing and getting to know each other for 18 months. With Scotty. So it was a complete shock, and we weren't, as players, I'm sure the ones that are there right now won't say anything, but when they move on and retire, they'll all be the same. It was something that we definitely weren't happy with. I think if we had have kept Scotty that year, I think it could have been a different story. I really do.
I've got a very quick one. It was a game in Melbourne against Melbourne City, where the absolute game of the century for a Jet supporter, or one of them at least. We go down 2-0 in the first half. We end up coming back. The Iceman scored a penalty, and we ended up winning 3-2.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that game?
I'm trying to remember that one. We had a few good games against Melbourne City.
Yeah, we were down 2-0. It was shit uphill for the second half.
Oh, this is a great game. Yeah.
It is.
So, yes, I do remember this. So the first half, it was at Amy Park. I remember the Seagulls still. So
yeah.
So I remember. Well, I don't remember 1 second about the first half. Could not tell you how they scored. Could not tell you anything. But I remember half time we came in, and the message was we got a bit of a roasting, and I just remember coming out at half time, and for the roasting that we got, we had this mentality that we're going to win. We're 2-0 down, and I still remember all of us coming out with this enthusiasm that we were actually going to win the game. And you could tell straight away, and this is the thing, in the first 5 minutes, if we hadn't have got the momentum, then it would have been a different story. But I remember that whole second half, we never lost the ball. I remember every single time they won the ball back, we'll just get it back straight away. And then we'll keep it again. And it was that second half was probably the best second half that I've ever played in, I reckon. that was a complete one-sided game, and yeah, we ended up winning 3-2, and fully deserved the game, the result as well.
Oh, yeah, and we didn't shut up for 90 minutes in the grandstand either.
Oh, man.
Throwing Mars
Yeah, I
bars
can
on
imagine.
people's heads.
Oh man, freaking my voice the
Yeah,
next
I
day
can-
was so bad.
I can imagine. Yeah, yeah.
We were going nuts.
Yeah, no, it was. Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a great day. Probably the best away day
Yeah.
I've ever been on. It was something special.
Oh, there was a good win the year before that as well, against Melbourne Victory at Amy
Yeah.
Park. I think we won 1-0 that game, and that is when we had our the team that was quality wise not as good, but we played against Melbourne Victory that day, and we played extremely well. I remember Maxi Burgess made his debut that game
Oh, Max.
Yeah.
Yep.
for us, and yeah, we ended up winning 1-0 that game, and just defended really, really well.
No, beautiful, mate. Well, we're gonna slowly wrap it up. Obviously, we definitely thank you for your time. Obviously, I'll answer that
worries.
question. Obviously, once we finish up with Daniel in regards to the stadium crowds and so forth like that. But there was something I was just gonna say. No,
Do you need your notes, mate?
No.
I threw you off.
I was
the Melbourne
good.
City one. It
I was
just
good, and
popped
then
into
you
my
and then you
head.
took me back down memory lane. I was just like, oh, yeah,
I just saw
classic.
the year that he played the highest goal scorer was Trivunovic, and I'm like, that game.
Yeah, Trivunovic. He
That
was,
game.
He was too. Well, yeah. we don't,
I remember the penalty. I've got it on one of my old phones somewhere.
mate. Between that sort of era, between the 2010 to 2010 to 2017, it was pretty grim for a Jets fan.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was.
very low
Yeah,
finish.
You had to pick
season.
and choose the away days you went on. You always wanted to go to a winner.
Yeah. You were hard to pick them when you knew you
Yeah.
sort of had a feeling that you were going to lose nearly every week. Just as I said, the club mentality and the way, I don't know, things just changed with the club, and Tinkler sunk it there at one point, and that just, I think it just took everything out of all the fans and everything else. And
yeah.
let's be honest, mate, our fans are very salty. If we're not winning,
Yeah.
they don't show up. It's disappointing, but it's the way it is. Unfortunately, they only show up when they win, and
Curse the crap out of them when they're losing.
yeah, exactly right. Bag shit out of them if they're losing. Exactly. So, but yeah, look, mate. As I said, I can't remember what I was actually going to say, but we'll finish off obviously on your best your team that I told you
Yes.
to sort of come up with. So the 11 players, 4 subs, and a coach.
Yep.
Obviously, you don't have to go into too much detail of why you've picked them. Obviously, if you played with them or played against them. But I'll be intrigued to see who
Who
you've
shows
got.
up?
All right, so I didn't get the memo about the 4 subs, unfortunately. So
That's
all
you're gonna have to play a 90-minute game with no subs, but
That's
that's fine because the team that I've picked, they're all fit enough. So in goals, as I described before, Eugene Galakovic is the best. I think Australians have the best goalkeepers in the world. Honestly, I think they're brilliant. There's so much depth as well. You look at people like Mark Birighitti, Dean Bouzanis, goalkeepers that they haven't even been playing that regularly. Even Andrew Redmayne, up until he was late 20s, he hardly even played a game. But some fantastic goalkeepers in Australia. So Eugene Galakovic for me, unbelievable. At right back, my best mate, I had to put him in here. Hopefully he's listening. But Ryan McGowan, so he's someone that I played with in my junior years, all the way up until I was 16. Went to primary school, high school with him. Just a brilliant guy, great defender. Just knew what it took to win. So, it wasn't better than anyone at that level. That was, it wasn't technically or tactically better. It was just he just knew how to win. Great tackler, great header, and fantastic guy. 2 centre backs that I had was one that I played with in the Socceroos game was Craig Moore. I thought, fantastic, one of the best defenders that we've ever produced in Australia, and the other one was probably one of the other best defenders that we've produced in Australia. Never played with him, but against him, and also coached me, Kevin Muscat.
Yep.
Great distribution, excellent tackler and reader of the game. Left back for me was the easiest position to pick, so that was Cassio.
Yep.
Great defender, but going forward, just unstoppable. He had that little jink with his left foot, so people that he would come up against, they knew exactly what he was going to do. They knew that he was going to fake to come inside and then just jink with his left foot and go on the outside, but they could never stop it. amazing player. When I went to China, actually, there was I met a few Brazilians there, and they showed me some videos, and Cassio was in one, and they couldn't believe that I knew Cassio. Cassio de Oliveira. He was like a god in Brazil, so we don't realize how lucky we are in Australia. The three midfielders. So Fabio Rochenbach played with him in China.
Oh yeah.
At Dalian, yeah. So ex-Middlesbrough, ex-Barcelona player. Hardest worker. It wasn't fit looking, but hardest worker. Never lost a battle ever, and very creative. So brilliant player. Played for the Brazilian national team as well. He partnered Marcos Flores in that midfield role. Marcos, one of the most creative players that I've played with when he was at Adelaide United. Absolutely brilliant. Yep. Great player. Different when he went to Melbourne and Newcastle for different reasons. But when he was at Adelaide, I thought just one of the best players in the league. Obviously won the Johnny Warren medal as well. Attacking midfielder, got Seydou Keita. So I played with Keita when I was in China. Came straight from Barcelona. Someone that I never saw him lose the ball in training or in a game, not once. Can never remember him losing the ball. Only touched it with his left. Never touched the ball with his right foot.
Yep.
But was just unbelievable. Just never lost the ball, but so creative. So through balls, would always find their mark. You know, he'd score. He'd just know where to be. So elegant on the ball, and just every touch that he made was for a reason. So, you know, even when you're taking it out of your feet, how far it was for a reason. You know, if it was a short pass or a long pass or a short touch or a long touch, always for a reason. So great player. And then the front three, Roy Krishna as one of the wingers. When I played with him at Wellington, realised how good he was. Goal scorer, but just so quick. You could put the ball over the top and change a game. You know, he would around and make sure that they're under the pump and not you.
Yeah.
Archie Thompson, so far the hardest player I've ever had to mark. So as a right back, he would always be he'd be a left winger when he was at Melbourne Victory. Hardest player I'd ever had to mark. He'd come short, you'd go tight, he'd turn over, you know, he'd wrap around and then go in behind, and those balls in behind he was too quick, so you couldn't defend against. But if you didn't if you didn't go tight on him, you know, when he come to get it to feet, he'd pick the ball up and then turn, and he'd beat you with his feet. So, and then he could obviously score goals. So amazing player, Archie Thompson, and then number 9, Peter Utaka. So I played with him in China as well, Nigerian international player. Yeah, goal scorer. Again, someone that as a defender, when I was a centre back in China, he was someone that, you know, normally as a defender, you thought you can anticipate things. So the ball will come into the striker and you can anticipate where his touch is going to go. And you can try and then, you know, either win it or defend on that side. For some reason, Otaka was so smart that wherever you thought he was going to take the ball, he would take it in the opposite direction every single time. So quick as well, and just an unbelievable goal scorer. Yep. Just used to keep it simple. Wouldn't try and hit it top corner. I don't think I ever saw him score a goal top corner. Every goal he scored was just side foot into the corner of the goal. So kept things very simple, but just a brilliant player. And then the coach, the only coach that I've ever had that's been a level above everyone else is Ange Postecoglou. So level of detail, the way that he created his training sessions to implement or sort of, you know, try and emulate the way that he was playing was fantastic. So Ange is the coach.
There you go. Now, the reason I done that was the simple fact that I was doing a bit of stats and I took a trip down memory lane, and I thought, let's see how different it is from 2016 to 2020.
Yeah, right.
Do I need this from the Jets website?
Because I was doing some digging.
This.
I was doing some digging, and obviously you done a perfect 11. I can't remember who it was. Who interviewed you at the time? Who was doing it? I think it was one of the girls.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
I can't remember that, but yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty close. It was pretty close. There's a few obviously who missed out from 2016. I think you got
Del Piero.
Del Piero.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, Rivaldo misses out as well.
Yeah. I was thinking about putting him in, but
lost a bit of a touch, obviously.
Shinji Ono.
Shinji Ono's in there. Texera.
Great player.
Texera. Yeah, Alex.
Alex Teixeira, yeah, he's a good player. These players here, I was thinking about putting them in as well, but I thought Del Piero and Rivaldo, yeah, great players, but these players here were unbelievable when I played with them or against them. So that's the reason why I had them.
It's a pretty.
I wondered why you gave him some homework, mate. You don't even give me that much homework.
Yeah.
When I see something slightly like that, I like to see what's going on. 2016 was a long time ago.
A lot's changed.
There's a lot's changed since then, and he's played obviously against a lot of different players even in that time.
True.
I thought I'd just see. Obviously, again, there was a few in there. Obviously, that's still stuck in there. So obviously, Ange Postecoglou and the goalkeeper, Getlikovic, and so forth. So, but anyway, mate, we're gonna wrap it because obviously we thank you definitely for your time, an hour and a half.
No worries.
John, and we'll let you go and enjoy your dinner. And I've seen you hear you rustling around. And
no problem at all. Got dinner ready to go. So
absolutely, mate. Obviously, just from a Jets point of view, mate, we thank you for your time. Obviously at the club, you know, as I said, friggin'. It's just one of those things where if we can get obviously past Jets on to have a chat, obviously about the time of the Jets and just their career in general, and talk obviously Australian football for us is the biggest one, just to see where you guys are all at now. Obviously, whether you're still playing or obviously in yourself, obviously taking a step back into obviously the NPL side of it. So yeah, as I said, mate, we thank you for your time at the Jets, and obviously, you know, congratulations on the career. Didn't even touch on the single Socceroo cap. Because we got sidetracked about everything else, but obviously, probably your best moment, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. Socceroos, yeah, definitely. Nah, can't beat that. Yeah. Can't beat that. No.
Absolutely. You upset that your dad played more games?
Well, no. Apparently, he only played in the B team.
Goal. Stitched him.
So yeah, that's what he said. Anyway, he's probably trying to make me feel better.
Gonna go have a look at the squad.
Yeah.
Nah, too easy, mate. Muchly appreciated. Thanks to obviously all the guys in chat as well for the questions to him. Yeah, mate, we'll be in touch. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys. Been a pleasure.
No worries,
Thank you
mate.
very much.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, guys. Once again, the podcast does what it does best and never runs on time. We never runs to a set.
Well, we don't run to a schedule.
No, we don't run to a schedule. Bloody message the wife back and get me food in here. I'm starving.
Food's been around for ages.
Oh, the chips are going to be
Foods have been here for ages. They're gone.
Welcome, mate. Welcome. New face. I don't think I've seen you in here before, so welcome to you. Obviously, answering your question quickly now. Opinion on Australia allowing stadium crowds of up to 10,000 people. It's probably the same answer I'll give you as what I've given every person I've sort of spoke to in regards to sport. I think it's too early.
Yeah.
I think it's
ask again in 3 months.
Way too early. I think we should be grateful that they've got the football back in rugby league and obviously AFL and obviously the A League soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should be grateful for that. You know, you're 50, maybe 100 people where you can put them in like a little box, but they're like family boxes. You know what I mean? They're not. I'm putting 10 random people in here.
No, it's the corporate boxes. Yeah,
and to your members, obviously. You know what I mean? Not just randoms who can afford it. You know, you give it to the members. Give back to the members, obviously, who are paying memberships and aren't being able to use it. So
I was waiting for you to make that comment.
No. I'm just saying in general. Obviously, I'm not talking A League. I'm talking AFL and NRL. Yeah. They've paid their membership. Season's kicked off. They're underway, and you know,
more for effect for them than so us because we're towards the tail end of our season.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, yeah, bloody
Yeah, just be careful when you open that door and she hands you your food.
Yep.
Because the light is right there.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll have to unlock the door.
That's fine. I'm just going to quickly unlock that so that I can sort of hear it coming. But, yeah, look, as I said, it's one of those things. I think it's a little bit too early. And we'll go from there.
She's like, come get it. So either you finish up the podcast and have dinner.
No, don't fucking. I'm just going to give it to you for 5 seconds. I'll be back in 5 seconds as Ben would normally go on his frigging quick smoke break. I'm going to be 10 seconds.
No, I'm not going to do that.
And
I'm not going to do that. See, because
I'll let- what's
at
your
least when
favourite
I do
word?
it, at least when I stand in front of the light, mate, the green screen doesn't disappear.
Oh, ouch.
I bet you didn't think about that one, did he, lads? Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that chat with Dan. Couple of really, really good answers. Yeah, got to use by Newcastle Knights membership one game. Yes, the other football, egg ball. What's he going on about? Yeah, so I hope that little insight into Daniel Mullen's career and what he's doing with himself now and what he's got coming up and what he plans to do. It's good to look back. That's coming through, you know.
Yeah, it's alright.
He's making noise. He's all about the noise. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that little chat. We generally only run for what? Interviews for about an hour, or we ask for about an hour's time. If they want to sit and have a chinwag any further, then we're more than happy to let them do so.
So yeah, no, if they're...
I reckon he would have stayed around all night.
Oh, I know, it's one of those things, you know what I mean? Like, you feel...
Some can't wait to get off.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we sit here and just go... We're trying to get to the next question. We're trying to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Luke's talking about his Knights membership.
Oh, yeah?
What's a Knights?
They play football.
Play egg ball.
It's always good. Nah, look, as I said, guys, we do appreciate. Julian, how are we, mate? EPL.
Julian's here.
EPL's back, buddy. Liverpool to win the...
It's not coming home.
Liverpool to win the title in 2 games.
Liverpool to be given the title in 2 games. They've
Shut
already
up,
won it. They won it months ago. And that's from a non-Liverpool supporter.
It's just a shame we can't lift it in bloody on Merseyside. That'd be fine. Go to Everton, beat Everton. Oh, trophy. Seen one of them in a while, have you?
No, well, you're still lifting it in Merseyside. You're just not lifting it at Anfield. You're just going to lift it at
Lifting
Goodison
it
Park.
on the wrong side of Mersey.
No, you're lifting it at bloody Goodison Park, which is better because you get to parade it in front of the opposition.
That's what I meant.
Your most heated rivals.
It'd be
That's
great.
better than lifting it at Anfield.
Absolutely. I couldn't think of anything better.
No.
And then just cross the bridge and freaking into
Yeah.
the stadium afterwards. Happy days.
An empty stadium because of social
Well,
distancing.
yeah, I'm talking obviously afterwards. You know.
No, it's not all perfect. You can dream. You have to use a bit of your imagination.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, thank you to Daniel Mullen for jumping on. It's muchly appreciated.
Dead set legend. Dead set legend.
Really good. We're going to follow back from last week, where I've been lucky enough to get Riley
Dobson.
from obviously currently Melbourne City, well, currently out of contract, I guess, with their 4-month contracts. So technically out of contract. So, ooh.
I think we're just working out whether she's here or at home.
Yeah. So I've definitely spoken to her. It's definitely happening. She's happy. So we're going to do it Thursday. We're going to look at taking the podcast away from Fridays, purely for the simple fact that football's on, football's starting to come back, and so
Everyone's going to
forth.
start watching it.
You know, we want you guys to enjoy it, and we'd love to watch you guys to watch it live with us. Then obviously watch it back. So we're going to move it to a Thursday, maybe where there's only like 1 or 2 games on.
And to be fair, my live streams do much better on a Friday night. No, Friday night gaming is peak. So it works both ways there.
I just don't want to be sitting here at 9 o'clock talking chat. And I'm trying to find someone to come on at 9 o'clock. It's not going to really...
No.
So, so Aidan, that answers your question for that. Who's coming on next week? Riley
Dobson will be next week. Do we have anybody else early next week?
Not sure at this point. Because obviously training's been moved now. I've got to do it Mondays and Wednesdays.
Your training.
Because football is coming back as of freaking 3 weeks.
Sorry, I don't really want to sneeze.
But yeah, look. There's a lot happening. Apparently A League can start training back as of, I think it's
That's
next
what we
week.
were going to do for next week, for the early one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
We did have another one lined up. Where's the Google Calendar?
Yeah.
Where's the calendar?
As I said, we're still trying to chase Kalina and everything else. We're just trying to tee
Apparently
up.
that was teed up.
Yeah.
Is that going ahead?
Well, because I've got training. I
Oh,
can't.
you got to move it.
And same as him, yeah. I mean, it's just so hard because he's got all these kids back in training and shit like that. And he's
Yeah.
It's going to be a pain in the backside.
It'll happen.
It'll happen. We'll get it.
It'll happen.
He's definitely said he's keen. It's definitely going to happen. It's just a matter of
Finding when everybody's
5
available.
minutes and everything else.
How close is Zena Caravella chat away, if you know?
Not far. I can definitely try and get him on.
That's
going.
Yeah, that's because it's the first time I've touched my phone in 2 hours.
All right.
So it only retrieves my notifications at the moment.
Yeah, Zanin is definitely, especially I definitely want to get him on to obviously have a chat about his ice bath with Daniel Mullen.
Yeah.
Because that'll be interesting. But it's definitely happening, mate. As I said, everyone, they've got lives now and shit like it's not like they're professional football. A lot of these guys are professional footballers anymore where life revolves around football and they get their set trainings. And
Yeah, but to be fair, the entire interview part of this sort of podcast was a COVID thing.
100%.
It was basically let's get them all while they're sitting on their hands and can't really go anywhere. They've got time, sort of thing, which makes it easy.
That's the biggest thing. It has made it. I can't imagine it being this easy
When the season's on.
When if they were playing, obviously,
No way.
or if COVID hadn't happened and they were obviously back in Mullen back in school and doing his teaching and everything else and la-di-da and being able to go out and do parties and socialise and holidays, and it just makes life very easy at the moment because they can't do any of that.
Yeah.
And we thank them very much for their time. We are looking at, I will give you some insight into a little thing that I have got planned. We are looking at possibly bringing you live football. It's something that I've thought about for a while. I spoke to Ben about it a week ago or so. Just local, like real local football. But I figure it's something to do. It will obviously, hopefully help our channel boost in views. Obviously, again, we're doing a lot for the Newcastle sort of thing. Obviously, the Jets and everything else, which helps Newcastle. But obviously, we're in Melbourne. So if we can get a feelers out in Melbourne, obviously it opens ourselves up where we might be able to get people from Melbourne and everything else. And as I said, the whole idea is we want to expand.
Baby steps.
Gabrielle, my optometrist, as I said, took faith in us in obviously jumping on board as a sponsor. And the whole idea is these guys coming on as a sponsor, we want to grow. There's no point in sitting where we are and being happy. We want to expand. I want to expand. It's definitely something I want to do. Turn it into something a lot bigger than what it is, hopefully.
I do, but we're still nutting out.
Oh, there's a lot of ways to go around it.
There's a lot that's going to happen in 12 months. Again, it's one of those we've got to set our plan out sort of for 12 months and then go back and look at it in 12 months' time. Mm-hmm. But there are various factors that will depend on how hard we push and when we push for certain things depending on other metrics. Mm-hmm. Is probably the best and easiest way to describe that.
Yeah, and like I said, everything's going to take turns and shit. My plan was to get to a lot next year, a lot of away A League games. I'm due to be a father again, so that's going to take obviously priority into that, which means obviously a lot of shit going to get put on the back burner again for this season. Doesn't mean I'm not definitely going to get to games. My aim, I'm telling you right now, I'll put it this way, Luke and Aiden and so forth, because I know you're here.
Get your couches ready.
If they allow people, 10,000 people or whatever it is, to an A-League game for these final 4 games, I will see you at Central Coast Mariners versus Newcastle Jets. I guarantee it.
When is it?
Well, I don't know yet. It would be the second game when they start. But,
August.
So I'm talking June, July, end of August. I'm guessing. End of August. I'm guessing.
I might be able to swing.
So I'm telling you right now, I will be.
I won't.
Don't give a shit if I have to drive.
I won't. Not if it's the end of August. Not for Charlotte's first birthday. I won't be able to leave the fucking state. I would not be able to leave the state.
I'm going to say that it's not going to be on that weekend. Like, Jesus Christ.
I fucking well hope not.
But I don't have to worry about a couch. I'm going to my mum's place. They don't need to stay on their couches. Yeah, it's away. Central Coast Mariners.
Yeah, it's away. Love a good trip down the coast.
But they're shit, so they'll have to play the aggregate.
Love a good away day trip.
The NRL will be on the freaking coast. That's come to us.
Yeah, how's that gonna work?
That's come to us. I'd say they will because freaking the Knights are playing. The Knights are playing Melbourne at Gosford. So
yeah, okay.
Because of all the
that spins my head. Just that sentence.
yeah, Newcastle played their home game at Central Coast.
At Central Coast against Melbourne.
Yeah, very weird.
Yeah, that hurts my head.
Always, but yeah, so yeah, like if it happens and we can get on there, I'm coming. There's a game in Sydney as well. We play Sydney, so I can get to that one as well.
Actually, I should really go up.
I'll read that later, Aiden. I'll just say it pop up.
Apparently, they reckon July 24th for the Mariners game. August the 2nd against Western United and August the 9th against Wellington.
That's even better.
Sydney game on Tuesday the 24th of July.
When's the Central Coast one? What day? Not day, it's the day. Saturday. Right.
July 20. Hang on. 3 straight games at home. The Mariners on July. Hang on. What? That doesn't make sense. How can you have 2 games? Oh, the Jets resume against Sydney FC in Sydney on Tuesday, July the 24th. Before 3 straight games at home against the Mariners, July 24th. How can they be in Sydney and playing at home against the Mariners on the exact same day?
Marriage 24th, Western United, August 2nd.
On the August 2nd, and then Wellington on the 9th.
Whoever you got that off, Aiden, dickheads. Because that don't make sense.
No, it doesn't. They fucked the article up.
Yeah.
We can't be playing in Sydney against Sydney on Tuesday, July the 24th, when we're meant to play the Mariners at home
on the same day.
On July the 24th.
Just giving the coaches a chance.
It says here that it's on a... Okay, Luke says the Sydney game's on a Thursday night.
I wasn't going to say nothing, but I have spoken to Laurie McKenna. He will most likely be on Monday night. We're going to do a little bit of a segment. It's not going to be massively live.
Did you just message him?
I spoke to him today.
Oh, okay.
He was going to come on. This is how dedicated he was to freaking tell us. He goes to me, I said to him, can you come on tonight, 7 o'clock or whatever, just to give a bit of an update on what's going on?
Oh, yeah, fucking
nice. Yeah, no worries.
Just message me.
I'll be at dinner. I'll be out for tea with a few others and so forth, but I can duck away for 5-10 minutes or whatever to freaking give you an update. I'm like, no. You have enjoy your dinner.
No, you go and enjoy your dinner. We'll work it out another time.
Jesus Christ.
Actually, now that I think about it, I think I might have to take that trip up to the coast. For channel reasons. Not because of the game. Yeah. Yeah. Instead of doing it in...
Especially if it's
July.
you
wanted to do it this weekend. But that was never going to happen.
Oh. But yeah. Look, at the end of the day, guys, this is why we ramble and shit. This is why. At the end of the day, we have massive things in place for the channel. We want it to be big. We want it to be,
We're not content doing just what
we're
doing
my plan,
now.
Obviously, my plan is...
We want to do more. We want to do better.
If I can turn this into some sort of a business, and that's not a full-time business or whatever, some sort.
All right, Chris.
What?
Hey, Benny, just remember to put your name on your tickets properly.
Right, when Ben comes up, Chris, when we go out, all right, and we go to games on the piss, he's not to drink. Because if he ends up finding himself in the freaking corner outside of the pub somewhere like a lost dog.
Oh, that was Bernie's 30th.
And that's where we'll leave
that was one. On the piss from the minute we stepped off the freaking plane at like 8 a.m. or something. And we didn't finish drinking until like 3 a.m. the next morning.
And that's what we call...
I'm only a small lad.
And Chris, that's what we call a non-Novocastrian.
Hey, I drank until I passed out.
He tried to compete with the big boys.
No, I drank until I could physically drink no more.
Literally the big boys. Literally, it was me, Brownie,
No, it was Cluffy.
Big boys.
It was Cluffy.
The big boys.
I blame Cluffy.
Oh, man. And the next morning was eventful.
Oh.
Lucky I'll tell you about the next morning. It was eventful.
Don't even.
That was eventful. Went in to get friggin'
It
soup
took
fittings
me
and...
It took me 3.5 hours to eat a sausage McMuffin.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And it took me an hour and 45 minutes to drink a coffee. It was a very slow day. It was a very... I haven't been that white girl wasted in a good 10 years.
Man, it was funny.
I wrote off hard.
But
I wrote off very hard.
yeah, the plan is to make this channel big. And that's not to be bigger than anyone else other than ourselves. That's just to...
We want to push ourselves artistically, production-wise.
We feel with the resources we have, in regards to obviously what Ben can do on a computer and so forth, and friggin' what I can do obviously in regards to opening my mouth.
Basically.
And whatever, and obviously knowledge. I think we can do big things. And that's why obviously, Luke, you were talking about obviously live football.
I think business is the wrong word for it. Not a business per se.
Entertainment.
And entertainment property would be the best way to describe it.
To put things loosely for most of you guys who know about it, I'm going to friggin' take Ben's idea of Lads Entertainment Network and make it succeed.
Hey.
And you know why? But the reason it'll succeed is because the people we put into it
Create content.
yeah, well, we'll do their job at hand.
Oh, we can't say that they never did their job. Lads was a fucking throwaway thing anyway.
Continue to do their job.
No, but Lads was a throwaway thing. That was a piss take.
I'm just taking. No, I'm literally taking the piss now.
It was a piss take. And it still is. If we do piss takey stuff and it involves lads,
that's where it goes.
Then that's where it goes. That's where it'll go. That's where the Counter-Strike thing will go. That's where...
But to answer your question, Luke, as in regards to the live football, yes. So, at the moment, we have football coming back on the 28th, apparently. And I figure, obviously, my club at the moment, Melton Phoenix, they're in State League 5, so they're low.
Bottom.
But... well, yeah, they're low. Yes. They're very low. But at the same time, it's an easy way for us to obviously get content.
Get a football match broadcasted.
Get content out. So you guys can obviously watch and have a good laugh at the standards of the football.
I will be behind the camera.
Oh, absolutely, it's funny. But at the same time, it gives us something. The biggest thing is we don't have a bar TV down here.
We've got none of that.
Right? We don't have the luxury of bar TV. What they do up there is absolutely fantastic and into the ACT.
Yeah, but Northern New South Wales Football have that agreement with bar TV.
Correct.
Here...
There's nothing.
In Victoria... No, there is. PlayStation used to have it. Used to have that agreement.
Yeah, used to. Years ago. 4 or 5 years ago.
And I think you'll fight... Somebody has some sort of agreement down here for MPL, but not for MPL 2 and lower.
At the end of we're not talking about we're going to cover MPL games. What I'm saying,
no.
Even at the moment, the only place I've seen MPL games being live are on FFV's Facebook page. That's it, that's it. So the idea is, it's something where we can do entertainment. We can give you guys content. It's football.
We might even commentate them.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, we just sit there and obviously, we'll get the team sheets or whatever it is, and we'll talk possession and everything else. And put it this way, if they can grab 2 English blokes from friggin' England to commentate thousands of miles away for friggin' Slutsk, Luke, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We can do it for a shit State League 5 side.
Or in the same breath, if Simon Hill can sit on his couch and put his laptop on his coffee table with a set of headphones and commentate on a K-League game halfway across Asia, we can do it for a shit State League 5 side.
If someone's paying him to get off his backside to go to the Northern Territory...
That's the thing! They're paying him for him to not even get off his backside. He doesn't even have to leave his couch.
Yep.
It's all just beamed to him. What?
Absolutely. Luke, absolutely.
Live lorry podcast. We'll talk about that off air. Talk about that off air. Watching Josh play football. Mate, I've seen it many a time.
Alright.
I used to play with him.
There'll be no Mark Curry their side, mate. Friggin' mate. That was the best thing.
Piss off.
Best thing that hit satellite, mate. They were so scared.
I wasn't talking about that side.
No. They're so scared.
So Andor.
They're so scared that I was freaking going to take over their club. They had to get rid of me.
And I wasn't far behind with the same thing, just in a different way.
Yeah.
They worked out the best way to get rid of me very quickly was to get rid of my son, but that's a story.
But Luke, you will not be watching me play football. No. I'm telling you right now.
It's not a great sight. When he hasn't played in a while. Mate, when you came back to Melbourne and you started playing indoor again, mate, you turned like a bloody bus. Before you left, mate, you would turn on a bloody 10-cent piece and still hit the back of the net. Your turn when you got back to Melbourne was half a second fucking slower.
It'll be about fucking 6 seconds slower now, I reckon. After 4 months off, pre-season was gold, mate. I was raring to go. Mate, the boys have got no idea what they're fucking in for on Monday afternoon. Let me tell you, 5 degrees, freezing cold, mate.
Oh yeah, it's fucking freezing down here.
Mate, they're in big trouble.
It reminds me. Did I pull the thing in for the jumping castle?
A blow one.
Yeah.
Make sure you bring the blower in, mate. Not outside overnight. Got the agreement.
I don't know where it is.
But
actually,
yeah.
I think Dad might have put it in a shed.
But yeah,
Anyway,
guys, we are going to leave it there because I got the wife out there and the girls are out there, and I think Brendan's even still here. That's how keen he is to friggin' say hello to you.
He's going to go to work anyway. He's at late tomorrow.
Oh fuck. But yeah, anyway, guys, we're going to leave it there. We'll talk to you more about it when we know more about it. But
yeah, we're still in early.
But at the end of the day, best thing we can do is tell you that
we
thank you guys for obviously jumping on each week. We hope you guys are enjoying what you are getting. For now, we hope to bring you guys much more and better content in the future.
Better quality
as well. Obviously, yeah. Exactly right. So we do thank you guys. The loyalty means a lot. Again,
get all your mates on it.
Again, I'm not, as I said, I'm not on Twitch or anything like that. And as Ben would say, even though he is, we don't expect any donations. We don't expect any money or anything like that. We thank Lockie and his father for jumping on board as a major sponsor when they didn't have to. And I told him countless fucking times not to.
Yeah.
But I don't need it. It's fine.
You don't need to disclose that.
Or whatever. What?
Continue.
Anyway.
If you put your foot in your mouth, I'll take it out for you. Continue. This is why
no, I wasn't going any further than that.
This is why we're co-hosts.
I wasn't going I know where you're going, but I was not going any further than where I stopped right there.
Yeah.
I'm saying just thanks to them for jumping on board.
Of course. Speaking of them.
Alright.
There they are.
As well as we're going to announce the winner of the friggin' look at you go.
Would you massage his foot too? No, mate. Because we're Ben and Josh of Crossbar Capers.
Hey! That's it. Thanks for that. Ben and Josh of Crossbar Capers. Love it. Love it. But anyway, we're going to leave it there. We are going to draw that, obviously, in the coming weeks. I don't know how the fuck we're going to do it because no one's really commented on anything or given us names or so forth.
Well, somebody's got a very easy chance of winning it.
Someone's got a real easy chance of winning it, so make sure your name's on there and...
Not ours.
Yeah, make sure our names are on there. They put my name down there for him. Might have a chance. I'll get someone else to draw it and want to be in the running. But yeah, be sure to go see Lockie and his dad, obviously, if you do have any eye care needs and so forth. Luke, to answer your question the other day on Ben's stream, saying I need to go see him myself because I can't see the screen and everything else. Ben hasn't had to enlarge anything.
Bullshit. No, Facebook is.
Oh, well, I haven't asked you, and I haven't really looked there anyway.
No, I just do it automatically now.
Oh, yeah, righto.
It's the worst thing we don't like to see is this.
No, Ben. That's exactly what we don't want to see.
What, my bald head? Alright, hang on, no. We don't see this in the camera.
Hey, Luke. You know what I find funny? You see the colour of his head just then? One, for some reason, he's playing with a bloke that's got really bright red hair on FIFA. And he's got a massive friggin' hole in the back of his head.
Yeah, the bald spot.
There's no hole in the back of his head. I think we need to accommodate.
No, that's a piss take, that is. That's me having a piss take at myself.
What a piss take would be is if I freaking cut a hole in the back of your head.
Hey, who other series was it? Oh, West Coast King. I made him do the exact same thing. Bright red hair, fucking bald spot right on the back.
Fucking hell.
Even on my phone screen, I can tell it's me when I watch his stream.
No, Devon.
Because
That's
it's
there,
got the
mate.
fuck off bald patch in the back. It's there so I can pick my player out, not because I've got a balding head.
Anyway, we are gonna leave it there and get well and truly off bloody Ben's balding patch.
Yeah.
Chris, mate, I think you've had enough to say. I think you've probably got a date or something like that to get to, or something like that. So
Does he?
yeah, probably got.
Are you giving me some ammunition that I can go back with?
Absolutely, I've probably got a dinner
yes.
date. You wait for it. The comment will be coming in now. You type and going, mate. You can piss off. So
What's this dinner date?
You make
I
sure
want to know more about this dinner date. When are you coming back to Melbourne?
well, you'll probably need to come back to Melton.
I like how she replies to that comment as well, like a week after it happens.
yeah.
It's not coming.
And then
He left a week ago, sweetheart.
but my mum commented after it saying, if you move, freaking I'll move. So Chris, do your fucking job and get your wife down here so my mother can come down and watch me drive.
There is beer and scotch to be drank.
Bang.
There is beer and scotch to be drank, son.
Not Josh. Josh won't be drunk. Scotch will be.
Well, you can drink Josh if you want.
Try and drink me under the table. I'd like you to try.
All right. Well, yeah.
Anyway.
You went G then what I did.
Anyway, guys, we're going to leave it there. Thank you again to, obviously, Daniel Mullen for jumping on tonight. He is muchly appreciated for giving up his time. We wish him, obviously, well in whatever he's going to do. Obviously, he's teaching now, and if he ever does, obviously, go back to football in some capacity, I want to. Yeah, I know. No, he does. Yeah, he's told me he's not. He Googles real estate. He looks at rentals.
Oh, really?
He looks at rentals. Did he will admit
Tell
it?
you what, if he wants to go back and drive in a truck, I can have him a job the next day.
He'll get a job here in friggin' what's he do? The friggin' what the hell does like the friggin'
CNC.
the helping carers, health carers and shit.
Oh, yeah, that Dale.
Like your
not
dad.
our Dale.
No. Like your dad.
WACS.
Yeah, that shit. So as I said, Chris wants to move down here, so we need to get onto him.
I don't think it's him that we need to convince.
Yeah, it's probably
It's the wife.
probably the day. Yeah, I don't know. Tell him you got another girl. I don't know.
Take her out to any restaurant in Brunswick, mate.
Absolutely.
Any restaurant in Melbourne, mate.
Yeah.
Melbourne, sorry.
Hopefully we'll
You're
get
pretty
his
well
all.
set.
Hopefully we'll get his all back down. We'll have another away day and we'll get on the piss and we'll.
Duly needed.
Absolutely. Anyway, guys, stop commenting on the chat because I'm trying to get the hell out of it. Anyway, we're going to leave it at that. Thank you again to Daniel Mullen. Thank you to everyone who obviously tuned in on Facebook and obviously the YouTube side of things. Please go and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Tick the notification bell. You sound so much like Ben. I've watched too much of his channels. It's not funny. Make sure you smack that subscribe button. Tick the notification bell.
That subscribe button.
Like the Facebook page, obviously. If anything I do post or Ben posts up on the channel or on the Facebook page, share the hell out of it. Mm-hmm. Let's get it out there. Let's get it to as many people as we can. To put things into perspective really quickly, I posted this Daniel Mullen thing up, 3 days ago? Or something like that. It reached 5,000 people yesterday. So it is getting out there, guys. It is getting out there, and I thank you guys for obviously...
People are seeing it.
I thank you guys for sharing it and everything else.
And just a very quick FYI, just because a post has come from the Crossbar Capers channel, only 8 times out of 10 is it, Josh. Some of them automatically assume when I put posts up on it that it's you, not me.
Well, they're nine times out of 10 they are mine, but anyway. But yeah.
I go in and fix spelling mistakes.
Comment. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's making comments, so you have to look at the comments and read the
Piss
comments.
Piss off! Piss off, Aiden! Go watch the footy or something. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. We'll catch you soon. We will be back next week at some point. Definitely Thursday. We will talk more women's football as we believe it needs to be. And hopefully, Thursday, only 4 days away from finding out that New Zealand and Australia will be hosting the Women's World Cup in 2023, and we can start planning World Cup around Australia Day. Around Australia, freaking live blogs from the games. So,
Imagine.
wife's already said to me, she goes, if we get the friggin' 2023, start saving your leave because we're going to every game. Her words.
Lucky you.
Her words. She goes, every Matilda's game, I don't give a shit. And I'm like, you do realise that they're going to friggin', because they're the host nation, they're going to have to play one of their group games in Brisbane, one of their group games in Melbourne, one of their group games in Sydney, one of their group games in Perth. It's just going to have to happen.
And then Adelaide gets left behind.
Yeah. So, anyway, Thursday. Yes, Luke, Thursday. I haven't got a time yet. 7:30, roughly.
Just keep an eye on the socials. We'll let you know.
We'll let you know. We'll post the shit out. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, guys. Make sure you go and check Ben's stuff out. Next, obviously, will be on Sunday.
4 p.m.
Where he will be doing, obviously, his football FIFA 20 content and then possibly slash over into his GTA, which he likes to do with, obviously, a few good friends and his fiance.
Nearly said it.
I almost said wife then for a second.
Said
it. It's hard to set a date. We'll give you the leniency. You got more than 50 people to invite. So
I was about to say, we've been engaged for, nearly 3 years.
That's all right, mate. You were together for friggin' nearly 6 or whatever. So
no, we're nearly at 8 this year.
Okay, there you go. Anyway, guys, we'll leave it there. We're going to go, finally. Jesus Christ, we could be here for all night trying to get the fuck off. But, guys, in the chat, put it in there. As always, we hate Coast Scum. We'll catch you guys soon. See you later.